Hello, welcome to Too Many Books, and prepare for what might be a horror story on film, but we will see. This is not actually a Broken Binding unboxing. This is a Curious King unboxing. So a little background for it. Curious King, Anthony K. over in the UK, has absolutely been crushing it. One of his titles that sold out pretty quickly was Hyperion by Dan Simmons. Been waiting for this for a while. You know, it's an exciting looking publication. I knew it was shipping in waves. It was shipping in segments. So I was like, mine's gonna keep waiting. Mine's in a further segment. Mine's, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And it still didn't come. And in the most recent, just a few weeks back, Anthony sent out his kind of New Year's newsletter. And he said, we've gotten all of Hyperion out the door. And then I was like, well, that kind of sucks because I don't have Hyperion in my hands or any sort of shipping notification. I had received months back the we're getting ready to ship it soon email, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I reached out to Anthony, and it turned out that my copy of Hyperion accidentally went to someone else. So he was able to find and track this person down, and the person shipped it over to me. So this, my friends, is Hyperion by Dan Simmons. And I'm a little nervous off the bat just because Curious King has like very nice foam-fitted packaging. This is a broken binding box. Not only is it a broken binding box, but it's missing a corner of the box. So, yeah, I'm a little nervous. I mean, hopefully it looks like it's layered up in there pretty nicely. Hopefully it's very nice. Fingers crossed. The box was being held together by Scotch tape, which thankfully held up on its trip overseas. So this is hopefully in great shape. If not, you are going to experience the pain with me. But I mean, kudos to Anthony. He went above and beyond in terms of tracking my copy down. I am curious. I'm curious as to the person who received it. Did they receive the wrong number? In which case, is there somebody else out there who, was looking for a Hyperion who didn't get a Hyperion? Or was it an instance of this guy just got a book that he wasn't meant to get, and he's just like, I'm keeping this thing? I don't know. But it's here now, and I will say the slipcase, the tray case, not even a slipcase, the tray case, does not appear to have sustained any damage, which is spectacular. A nice little suede felt on the outside of the tray case. Let's dive in. Whew. Okay. We have a bookmark. A nice little collectible bookmark here, featuring the artwork of Jaime Jones, who is doing the artwork for both Hyperion and the Fall of Hyperion. Jones is not doing Endymion or Rise of Endymion, which I'm kind of bummed about. I mean, I understand that both the first two Hyperion novels are almost like their own duology, and then the two Endymion novels are their own duology. It's like almost two duologies. But, I mean, there are several characters who cross over between the two. Most of them are minor characters, but the Shrike, for example, is prominent in all four novels. So, I mean, we're going to hopefully, the artist, I don't know if they've announced the artist for Endymion yet, but hopefully that artist kind of keeps the Shrike in line with Jaime Jones's depiction of the Shrike. The book itself looks spectacular. I mean, it looks like it's held up. We have our gilded page edges at the top, blue Nigerian goat skin that it is bound in. This is printed on 120-gram Munkin cream paper, I believe. So the paper should be exquisite as well. There we have our nice Jaime Jones illustrated end paper. Signed, of course, by Dan Simmons and Jaime Jones. It's kind of wild, because it feels like it's been so long. It's been over a decade. I think, was it 2013, 2014 was Simmons' last novel? When did The Fifth Heart come out? He hasn't written anything else. He's been working on a science fiction novel called Omega Canyon, or Omega Valley, I suppose. But it's been a while, and he didn't write anything new for this. There's no introduction, as far as I'm aware. This was printed by Nomad Letterpress, bound by Ludlow. My copy is number 42, which is exceptional. Jaime Jones has a very beautiful signature there. That's the calligraphy of that. We have our gorgeous tipped-in artwork of all our travelers getting ready to share their stories. Letterpress printed through and through. It is beautiful. But anyways, this is actually... No, I was going to say this is the first of 2 letterpress printed Simmons titles, but I don't think Carry and Comfort, these pages are stuck here. Our pages are a little stuck. Look at that. I don't want to rip it, but maybe I'll see if I can get something sharp so it's not going to be blunted with my hands, my fingers there. But anyways... Carry and Comfort, as I continue to distract myself. Oh my god, the artwork is almost inlaid with... Some of the artwork is inlaid with the text. I love that. It's a great detail. I love when that happens. It's not just, your regular old text block. That's exceptional. As I keep distracting myself, Carry and Comfort by Dan Simmons is getting the Suntup edition. That was the December title from Suntup. I don't think, now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't think that one's letterpress printed. I think that one is offset printed, which is fine. But that one, also signed by Dan Simmons. But, interesting enough, the introduction in that one is not new. That's the introduction from the 20th anniversary edition, which is, 15 years ago. So it's, what has Dan been up to the past decade, other than getting into social media fights with, what was her name? The, Swedish, the girl who was trying to kind of fight back against climate change. I'm drawing a blank on her name. But I'm loving Jaime Jones' artwork. That's spectacular. Anyways, let's talk about the novel itself. If you haven't read Hyperion, you definitely should. It is a spectacular novel. I know Dan Simmons might be a controversial figure these days with his views and his... kind of fights with teenage girls whose names are escaping me. But anyways, this in particular, Hyperion in particular, is just an absolute masterpiece. One of my favorite novels of all time. One of the best science fiction novels I've ever read. You really do have to read the first 2 novels to have the complete story of, this Hyperion duology. The first novel does kind of abruptly end. It was very much written to be one big volume. This first volume is actually, it's almost interesting in just how good this volume is, because we have the time tombs there, by the way. What's remarkable about this is that it's entirely a novel about backstory. And yet, 400 plus pages, you are completely enthralled and completely enamored by just this backstory. The first novel is almost like an ode, almost like a nod to the Canterbury Tales, Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. You have these pilgrims from all walks of life, all different histories, all coming together and traveling to the titular planet of Hyperion. The story goes that if you make this pilgrimage to Hyperion and you make it to the time tombs, this mythical beast called the Shrike will grant you a wish. And so all of these characters have their own reasons for coming on this journey. They have their own backstories to tell. And this first novel is essentially them talking. It's the Canterbury Tales. It's all, all the pilgrims sitting around and talking about what brings them there. You're going from, person to person talking about their stories. The Council's Tale. The Council's talking about his, you got his story. The Council's Tale is actually, was it a reprint or a reworking? There was an earlier novella or short story that was actually kind of almost note for note to the Council's Tale that was reworked into the Council's Tale. I mean, there's, of course, an overarching story, as these pilgrims are traveling to Hyperion aboard their ship. Ooh, there is the Shrike right there. That is spectacular. But really, I mean, Hyperion is just downright masterpiece. Just know that going into the very first Hyperion novel, you aren't going to get a full story, because it's going to, it ends with them arriving on the planet. The second novel deals with them on Hyperion and is still a spectacular tale. There's also another major character who's off-world, who's introduced in the second novel. But man, it is spectacular. And then I know you get some very mixed opinions with Endymion, the third and fourth volumes of the Hyperion Cantos. I personally like Endymion. It is certainly different than Hyperion. Endymion follows one single character. There's a group of characters that he travels with, but there's pretty much one protagonist in Endymion, kind of on his own action-adventure journey. And Endymion has, in my opinion, the coolest form of space travel, like intergalactic, faster-than-light space travel. And it's pretty gruesome, but the way that Simmons describes it is masterful. So like I said, Simmons himself might be a controversial figure these days, but man, he wrote a masterpiece for Hyperion. But wow, I'm amazed that I did end up getting this. Like I said, I'm not sure what the logistics were behind it going to the wrong person. And thankfully, this person did, respond to Anthony and did return the book. It's not really a porch pirate sort of situation. It was a completely different country that this wound up in. So it's not like, a porch pirate thing. But man, that guy could have taken off a run to the hills. I imagine this person had to have purchased other items from. I should say this might look like it's a defect. This has been pointed out by other people that unfortunately, due to the maze-like design within the cover, the stamping on the actual title does kind of crack in little parts. But that's unfortunately going to be happening with the page block. But wow, it arrived. It arrived later than everybody else's, but it was well worth the wait, and it is here, and that is the important thing. Man, this is completely sold out. Sold out pretty quickly. So you'd have to go to the secondary market if you want to pick up a copy for yourself. But this is the fanciest edition of Hyperion out there. There are much less fancy editions out there for much more affordable prices. Subterranean Press did their own edition. The very first volume, Hyperion, is actually still very pricey for Subterranean Press. It shouldn't be as pricey as this edition, but still very pricey. But there's, of course, like an Easton Press edition that you can pick up for Easton Press prices, which is much cheaper than this. It's like a fancy trade edition, but still pretty fancy. I actually did a video on my channel where I showcased some various editions that I owned, including the Easton Press edition. But this one takes the cake. My copy of The Fall of Hyperion is already ordered, so fingers crossed that that one arrives safely and doesn't arrive to the same guy. But man, just absolute kudos to Anthony for being able to track this down, having it not get lost in the shuffle, and it's arrived. But man, Anthony has been kicking ass. He's got a lot of other great, exciting titles on the horizon, including Legend, David Gemmell. I'm excited for that one. Hitchhiker's Guide, which if you didn't notice my number here, my number is 42. So, yeah, I am without words for Hitchhiker's Guide. I am legally required to secure number 42 for Hitchhiker's Guide, and it is going to be probably the grail, like the high point of my collection. It's all downhill from there. Like that, it's just, people are excited if they get number one, like a randomly inserted Subterranean Press number. I would be thrilled if I got number one, but getting number 42 of Hitchhiker's Guide is the pinnacle of my entire collection. Holy crap. So anyways, thank you so much, Anthony, for tracking this back down. Please check out Hyperion if you haven't read it for yourself. Like I said, just kind of put Simmons' politics aside. He does have some, not necessarily politics, but he deals with political subjects, futuristic political subjects, in dealing with the hegemony within particularly the sequel. But those don't necessarily cross over with his own crazy old man on the porch yelling at kids to get off his damn lawn kind of mentality that he's had the past few years. But So like I said, it's easy to separate the art from the artist, especially with Hyperion here, so check those out. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing. I do have plenty of other unboxing videos on the channel, including several other Curious King titles for you to check out. And we'll see you around next time.